down in the dirt.
How about now? Can you hear me now? If I keep talking?
Mate, yeah.
Ah, there we go.
There we go. It helps if you turn the volume on, doesn't it?
I have done that. You know, I have spent 5 minutes
Honestly.
going through this with somebody only to realise I'd muted my mic. So don't worry, it happens all the time.
I've seen that one. Yes, I'm sat there, and the volume thing's on the little cross.
Gotcha. No dramas. We're all sorted now, mate. We're all sorted. Awesome. Nice to meet you, Matt.
Well, yeah, and you, bud. I join you from the quietest place in the entire house, and that's the camper van outside.
I was going to say, are you in the back of a camper van? That's some setup.
I am in the back of the van. Yeah.
Awesome. What van you got?
My it's a Volkswagen Crafter.
Oh, nice.
2018 one. So we race dogs as a family, border whippets, in flyball.
Uh-huh.
You know, like the down and back relay races for dogs.
Gotcha.
So we're away most weekends doing that. So we are in this thing the entire summer pretty much. So I'm very accustomed to it.
The reason I ask it, my missus is into vans. She's got like a Type 2 VW camper. So yeah, she loves the old vans. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing, mate. It's amazing. Van life is the way forward.
Do you know, I live in a tiny little village just outside sort of Maidstone in Kent, and we've got 2 or 3 people just in this village that camp up. You know, they park up most nights just on the outskirts of the village in their vans and, you know, crack on during the day, go off to work. But it seems to be loads of people doing it. I
mean, I don't know if I could do it full. I don't know if I could live in the van.
Yeah.
You know, we've done 5 days, and I've got 2 young boys, and one of them's now 7, and the other one's 4.
Yeah,
we've got the 2 dogs, and even in a crafter, fully kitted out, microwave, toilet, fridge, you name it, it's a struggle. 5 days was a long time.
Yeah.
But we love it.
Different kettle of fish when it's a family, isn't it? When it's just like single doom, or like, do you follow Bobby and Marie, One Life Truck It? Do you follow them at all?
No, I don't know.
Oh, he's they came on the podcast. Bobby set off to drive like a man truck, a converted man truck, and drive that from the UK to Australia, where he intended to set up a new life after his relationship all failed and everything. In fact, we may as well crack on with the podcast now, mate. It seems we're chatting. You all right just to crack fire straight in?
Yeah,
we'll get
mate,
into
crack
it.
On, yeah.
Lovely job.
Yeah.
So Bobby set off with his sort of dog, Red, which is a red Labrador. And about 1 week into it, he's up some mountain in the French Alps, and he met this beautiful French lady, Marie, and they end up falling for each other, and she joined him with her white, like Alsatian, her white shepherd dog. So they just ended up becoming a couple with these 2 dogs, and they carried on this adventure. And you know, they've now got married, and they're back in the UK. They're converting an even bigger, great big, like 8 wheelbase or 8, what do they call it? 8 axle, huge truck, which they're now going to convert into a business, a mobile business, and take off around the world again. So, but different when you've got kids and all that sort of stuff, though, isn't it?
Yeah. So we have this conversation all the time where we need a bigger van and we need to get the extra long wheelbase and all that. And then I go to the extreme end, and then I'm on eBay and I'm looking at American RVs, like 48-foot RVs. And I'm like, well, you can pick these things up for like 25 grand.
Yeah.
And you've got 3-seater sofas and a 42-inch TV and a full kitchen. And I'm like, well, we might as well just go all out. But it's not going to happen.
You see them at, like, when you go to any of the, like, MotoGP or World Supers or something, you know, these massive big American camper things turn up and the sides all come out, and you're like, oh my God,
that's the ones. Yeah,
it's probably worth more than my house.
Well, there was actually a couple of guys that had one of those through the flyball with the dog racing, and they extended the sides out. But you're supposed to put like a support in for when the sides come out. You're supposed to support it underneath, but they didn't put the supports out. They had all the people in there from flyball, and they were all sitting in there having a chit chat over the evening. And at the end of the weekend, they've gone to retract the bus back in, and it's bent the frame, and they couldn't retract it back in, and ended up writing the bus off.
They wrote it off.
Yeah, bent the frame. Yeah, they couldn't repair it. Yeah.
Oh, that's an expensive weekend. Wow,
it's an expensive weekend. Yeah, so I'll learn from someone else's mistakes on that one.
Yeah, definitely. I suppose we better introduce you, Matt. Folks, this is
We
Matt
have, I
Neale
suppose.
from Fortlox. Welcome, Matt.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Mate, absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Right, I got loads of questions. We've got loads of questions to come. I'm afraid I need to kill it round about the 2 hour mark because I'm heading off up to
fine, mate,
Scotland to see family tomorrow, and I am way behind with packing. I haven't even
That's
packed.
fine, man,
I've
that's
got
fine.
nothing done. So yeah, we'll fire straight in if that's all right.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah.
Lovely job. So Matt, Fortlox, what's the crack? How did it happen? What is it?
Fortlox came about through being pissed off with society and the way that there's this level of disrespect that these people have for breaking into your home and taking your stuff. And I was a victim of it a couple of times myself. One of the times, I left the bike outside. It was an old Kawasaki KMX 125 when I was about 17, and I left that out the front of the house. Went off in my car, came back stupidly, left it out the front of the house.
Yeah.
Came back in the car, and there's a guy at the top of the road, and he sort of waved me down. I stopped and opened the window, and he went, "I think your mate's just run off up the alleyway there with your bike." I said, "What are you talking about?" I said, I'm not with my mate. It's like the bike's just down there. He went, "It ain't. It's gone up the alleyway there." Oh. So this is seconds later. So I've driven off up there, jumped out the car, and at the other end of this sort of 40-foot alleyway, I've seen these kids, and they're all like hoodied up. They dropped the bike, but they'd smashed the ignition and broken the steering lock and stuff. So luckily I got the bike back, but I was only, 500 yards from my house. And the second time was through the motocross. And I'm pretty confident someone followed me home. It's really common in motocross.
Yeah.
They'll go to the events, they'll see the bikes that they want, they follow you back, and they'll come back later in the week. So I didn't keep the motocross bike at my house. It was always kept at my dad's. He just had a bit more space. And I woke up in the morning about 6 o'clock, and I had loads of Facebook Messenger missed calls from one of his neighbors, which was pretty out of the blue. So I rang him back, and he went, "I was on my way to work this morning, like 7 o'clock, and I found your motocross bike in a bush in the village." He said, "I pushed it back to your dad's house for you." So lucky enough, the weekend before this happened, I crashed the bike. So it was a bit of sheer luck. I crashed the bike. And I'd stretched the throttle cable, so it was unrideable. You couldn't do anything with it. You revved it up. It was a 252 stroke Yami. You fired it up, it revs its tits off. You can't ride it. Well, unless you want to be sat wide open throttle the entire way. Yeah. But obviously they had different plans. So they ditched it in the bush. So through crashing that bike the weekend before, I actually got it back, and I had the cable to repair it. So if I'd have done the repair, that would have been it. The bike would have been gone.
Been off.
I think from that one, for me, I used multiple locks on that bike. I had chains, I had disc locks, I had a big cover over it. It was in a locked garage. And the mistake I made was leaving my grinder in sight and not locking it in the toolbox. And they plugged my grinder in and cut all the locks off with it.
Seriously?
So that I don't know if they turned up with their own or just bolt cutters. I don't know what I'll never find out to this day, but they plugged in my grinder because, mains grinders are way more powerful than a battery.
One. Yeah.
So I found it on the floor with the disc popped into pieces and just locks and chains everywhere. And that's how they stole it. So I think the only saving grace I can take from that is that the disc was popped, and I was kind of hoping it was stuck in someone. But I will never know. But that's how Fortlox came about. It was through those two experiences of my own. And I was sort of driving down the motorway one day, and I was thinking, how can I secure my stuff better? There's loads of chains and disc locks and stuff on the market. And I just had this sort of little epiphany. I thought, well, I need to roll the bike into something that is bolted to the floor, holds the bike still, and it just goes bump through the front wheel, and I can walk away and leave it. So with that thought process, I came home, I started drawing things on paper. I then came up with something that I quite enjoyed the look of. I made it out of MDF, and I started rolling a bike in and out of it, made sure it was correct. And at this point, we only had the 21-inch. I only had the 21-inch variant available. It was purely for motocross. So I took that design, gave it to a guy that does CAD, and he's way better on the computer than me. Stuck it all on the computer, turned it into a real thing, and then we got it laser cut and welded together. a few people said, this is really cool. You need to chuck this out on social media. So I did, and it's just sort of snowballed.
Wow. How long have you been going? Because you only popped up on my radar. What was it? Was it this year?
So
or maybe end of last year?
It would have been end of last year. So officially, nearly 3 years.
Wow.
Nearly 3 years. But that was purely in the background. It was just, I never did a paid ad, anything. It was just a social media page that had about 60 followers on it. And I was just posting here and there, you know. And it wasn't until last August that we registered the limited company and decided to actually make something of it. So we did that in August. October came around. I quit my job and I decided this is it. You've just got to do it. You just got to go for it.
Yeah, make the leap.
No point sitting on this idea anymore. Just make a thing of it. Make it happen.
Yeah. That's having been in a similar position. That's a fairly iconic moment in your life, isn't it? When you go all in, you're like, right, okay, let's go for it.
It's terrifying, though, isn't it? You know, and you get a day where nothing happens, and you sit back and you go, I've actually earned nothing today. And you think, right, I got to crack on tomorrow. I got to do this, and it's so much. There's so many levels of freedom to being your own person, but it then brings a completely 180 level of I say stresses, but different things that you need to consider.
Yeah, there's no safety net, is there? Like you said, if you don't turn up for work, if you don't produce any output, there's no income coming. So
no, that's it. There is no. I'll have a sick day, you know. But
do you come from an engineering background then? Sorry to interrupt. No, apologies. Sorry.
No, not at all. Not at all. No. In short, so I did mechanics when I was younger as an apprentice, and I've always just been sort of crazy into bikes and cars. You know, I built a few motorbikes myself, and I just sort of self-taught with everything. You know, like welding and fabrication and bike building. I've just sort of got on with it and learnt the hard way by doing it wrong. So that in its way, sort of 20 years of doing that has just been a blessing in disguise when I've actually come round to doing this. One thing I will say I found I'm quite gifted at, I'll say, is technical drawings. I've had zero experience of them, but I can sit for 4 or 5 hours and put together a technical drawing with angles and all different bits and bobs, and then hand that over to somebody that knows what they're doing on the computer.
God, so that's just like an inbuilt thing.
Yeah,
then.
it's just one of those things Like some people are good at maths, some people are good at driving, and I seem to be good at drawing things. Not artistic, I'm terrible. But actually, if you want me to draw something that's going to fit in the back of your van and open that way out, I'll draw it.
Yeah. So
it's just one of those things. It just.
What's it called again? My apologies. The main product that you were talking about with Fortlox, the one that you...
So the X series.
X series, right. Can you describe that to people then, if anyone that's not familiar with it?
Yeah, so the X series is a bolt down ground anchor / wheel clamp. There's 3 different sizes of it. There's a 21 inch, a 19 and a 17 inch. So that covers the 3 main sized wheels.
Yeah.
And the reason that we went for 3 separate sizes over one universal was to specifically hold the bike up, so it holds the bike nice and snug. So for me, I wanted to be able to roll the bike in and just let go of it, and it holds itself up. You don't need the center stand, the side stand. You could push the bike right over to the wall and save a bit of space in the garage as well. So it's a bolt down ground anchor. It's certified by Sold Secure as SS105, which is the highest accreditation that you can get through Sold Secure. So there is powered cycle diamond, which we got originally, and then we upgraded that to ground anchor diamond. That's a 5-minute grinder attack, 5-minute bolt cutters, 5-minute hacksaw. What else they do? They did blowtorch, like a map gas on the pin, and they tried to hammer and chisel it, break it out the floor. So the construction is 3 or 4 stainless steel, top to bottom. But I am going to be bringing out a carbon steel variant. And it's the design of it encases the whole front wheel. And you've got a bolt that goes through the spokes and then is locked with an encased padlock on the other side. So you roll the bike in, you put the bolt through the wheel, you encase it in with the padlock, lock it in place with the padlock, and just walk away. So after a few attempts of doing it myself, having one in my garage, I timed myself doing it to see how quick I could put the bike away.
Yeah.
And after a bit of practice, I could, from rolling the bike into the garage to walking out, I could do it in under 20 seconds.
Blimey.
So by the time you fumble around with a huge chain or you've put 2 disc locks on, I find it's just worth its weight in gold.
Folks, we've got a new sponsor for the podcast, and that is Super Shield Auto. Now, Super Shield Automotive provide the very best service in detailing, paint correction, and ceramic coating, your pride and joy. They can also supply and fit products from many suppliers such as Chiggy, Akropovich, Hex, Denali, Visa, and many more. Get in touch for details, and don't forget to mention TeapotOne for a discount. So head to their website, which is just supershieldauto.co.uk. You'll be able to see there they do discounts for lots of those products and loads more coming online as well. So make sure you check that out. And if you love being around bikes and cars, then they're currently looking for someone to join them full time. Full training's given and a van is provided with a competitive salary. Get in touch at info@supershieldauto.co.uk for more details. Folks, if you've seen any of my bike wash or ceramic coating vids on the main TeapotOne channel, that's my mate Pete from Super Shield Auto. He owns the whole company. You can see from his work, he's a top man. If you fancy getting involved in that line of work, he is your man. Check that out. And a massive thanks to Super Shield Automotive for sponsoring the podcast. And are these all made in the UK as well?
I make them, yeah.
So you fabricate it here in the UK. It's all done.
When we set up with the limited company, we had a company that was making them for us. Just because I was so focused on building the brand up, getting all the insurances in place and dealing with Toll Secure and all these other people. So we approached the fabricators, and it was going well to a degree, but they unfortunately closed their doors a couple of weeks ago. So I said, about a month or so ago. So since then, the orders have been laser cut, sent to my workshop, and I've been sticking them together and then sending them off for powder coat.
Blimey. Gee whiz. You like doing things the tough way, don't you?
Yeah. Wow. No, but needs be at the minute. One day I'll have my own factory.
There you go, yeah. I mean, it's the trials of being self-employed, isn't it? And starting your own business, for sure.
You've got to do it, haven't you? That's
yeah.
You have to at the beginning. It's so early days.
So this podcast is powered by Conqueror's Motorcycle Apparel, a biker's clothing shop built by bikers, run by bikers, for people who actually ride. No corporate nonsense, no guessing games, just riders who know their kit inside and out. Walk through the door or jump online and you'll get nothing but 5-star service. The kind where someone actually listens, knows the gear, and won't flog you rubbish just to make a sale. For an independent shop, the range punches well above its weight: helmets, riding gear, casual wear, and the bits you didn't know you needed until a proper biker pointed them out. And if you're shopping online, here's the kicker: use Fisters10, yes, Fisters10, at checkout for 10% off, because good gear should come with a bit of respect. Conqueror's Motorcycle Apparel, built by bikers, backing bikers. You can check out the website at conquerorsapparel.co.uk, or if you're down near St Leonard's on the south coast of England, pop along to the shop, stick your head in, and say hello. I really like the fact that you're a British made, you're a British fabricated company. I love that. I want to try and support that sort of stuff as much as possible. I'm trying at the moment with my merchandise line. I don't want my t-shirts coming across from China and then just them using like some Chinese cheap t-shirt, chucking my logo on here in the UK, and I'm trying to find UK manufactured clothing items that can be turned into my merch. It's bloody hard, I tell you, and it's also hard, really expensive. That's the problem at the moment.
And that's the thing; it is really expensive. Like we dabbled with the idea of moving production over to Portugal, And I flew to Portugal, met with the company. They made one for us, and we were looking around, and it was all seemingly really, really good. But the reality was, it's very, very cheap to get it made over there. And I was looking at the numbers going, this is fantastic. But then shipping to the UK was actually more than what they were charging us to make them. And by the time you've done this and done that and jumped through all the hoops and paid the import duties, we were going to save about 20 quid on each one. I'm like, well, there's no point, is there? There's just no point. So we pulled the plug on that idea. But, you know, at the beginning, we had to explore every avenue as a startup business with limited funds to try and maximize the efficiency of it. So, but the way it's turned out at the minute, I've got a TIG welder. I'm now self-employed, so I've got a bit of time on my hands. I'm quite happy. I'm quite happy going out in the workshop after the kids have gone to bed, sticking a few of them together, and then dropping them down the powder coaters the next morning until it really takes off, and I'm sort of smashing out 20 or 30 at a time. Then I'm quite happy doing it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's my view on it at the moment is I personally would rather pay more for, like, you know, a homegrown product, a UK made product, than support, you know, overseas somewhere when there's manufacture and fabrication here in the UK. Companies like yourselves that are trying to start and they're trying to grow and they're trying to generate the fabrication markets again here in the UK. I'd rather support that than, you know, over in, let's say, for example, China, where, you know, they're just churning stuff out. I would rather go for the homegrown options. But it's a choice we as the consumers have to make, isn't it? Do you pay the premium for that? But, you know, I personally would, you know, if I'm in the position to, I will.
We live in this Amazon day and age, don't we? You know, where things are just there, and you go, and it turns. I actually ordered something last night about 10 o'clock at night, and my partner opened the door at 8:30 this morning. There's a parcel on the doorstep. But that's crazy, the sort of day and age that we live in, you know, and that's what people expect. But things do take time, you know. I put on my website from order to dispatch is up to 4 weeks. And that's not me taking 4 weeks to do it. That's a 10-day waiting time on the steel fabricators to cut it. Then it's got to ship to me. I've got to put it together. Then it's a week at the powder coaters, or 3 or 4 days at the powder coaters. And then it ships to the consumer. So the steel industry in the UK is extortionate. It's mental how expensive it is. And I think a lot of it is due to the sort of rising energy costs. When you do venture out and look at Portugal, the labor rate over there is almost inhuman. It's just, I don't know how these people get away with getting paid so little. And the cost of steel over there is, I'm going to say, less than half of what it is here.
Wow, really?
It's crazy, mate. Absolutely crazy. Yeah. And like I said, I could get them manufactured in Portugal for literally half the price that they were getting manufactured here, and it's the same steel. But it's just all the rising costs and factors of being in the UK. And it makes you wonder, and it makes you realise why companies like Royal Enfield, why they've gone to India.
Absolutely.
It makes sense. And we can all sit here and go, oh, they're made in India now. Well, from a business perspective, it makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah. And we as consumers, we are now accustomed to paying, you know, like the minimal sort of price for products, aren't we? So, like we just discussed, if you want that same product made here in the UK, it's going to cost more, isn't it? Because, like, you got to eat, you've got to put lights in your workshop, you've got to pay a mortgage, live. It's just, you know, I think it's just a decision we as consumers here in the UK, we have to make that decision. Do you support UK business or not? Everyone moans that we've got no manufacturing here in the UK. Well, here's a company trying to start up, so let's support them. And
there's plenty of us, mate. There's so many little, I'm going to say micro brands around the UK that are trying to do their thing and keep it in the UK. And it is a real struggle for these guys.
Yeah, I bet it is, mate. I bet it is. So, right, where do people go if they want to find out some more?
Fortloxmoto.com. Everything you need to know is on fortloxmoto.com.
Beautiful. Happy days. Right, shall we crack on with some questions? And
We shall,
start
yes.
working our way through them. There's quite a few with my clan over on Patreon, and I think we've got some on
amazing,
Instagram or Facebook as well. Right, I've started something new, Matt. So what I'm doing now is I'm asking every guest, the first question is my question, and it's the same question everyone get asked, and that is, I describe Bru Time as a relaxed conversation podcast exploring what it really means to live your life through honest conversations with people who choose more. When you hear that, what does choosing more mean to you?
I think for me, choosing more is, and I'm going to use my own experience to answer this one, it's don't just sit on an idea for years and years and years thinking, I'll do it next week, I'll do it next year. The time's not right now. The time's never going to be right. Do more, take action, just do it. Just do it. Like, we've only got a few years on this planet, so just grab it by the horns and go for it. Whatever it is you want to do, whether it's starting your own business, whether it's buying that car, just do it. Because you don't know what's around the corner.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always say to people as well is like, when you go for it and say it doesn't work out, that's not the end, is it? You know, it's only over. It only fails when you give up. Because like your Elon Musks and all these successful businessmen out there, you're damn sure they've had 999 failures before they get that one big success. And that may well then fail eventually down the line. But they carry on, they figure it out, and they take the next step and the next step and the next step. And that's life, isn't it? You know, you get kicked in the balls in life and you just have to keep dealing with it and keep going.
I think
absolutely.
once you do take that leap and you get a little taste of what it's like to be your own person, it gives you so much drive to not give up.
Yeah, that I really feel that, because I was really, I'm sure you were like that when you first became self-employed. That thought of, oh, what if it doesn't work out? What if it doesn't work out? You know, the lack of safety net underneath me when I was going for starting out was something I really struggled with. But I think everyone I know that's self-employed said to me, you just get used to it and you just crack on. And I think I'm kind of in that stage. But like you just said, in my head, I think, if this doesn't work out, what the hell am I going to do? Because I don't think I could go back to working for someone anymore. Now
I don't think I could. I don't think I could go back to full-time employment. I would just have to do something else.
Figure something else out.
Yeah. I just have to figure something out. But that's not going to happen on my watch.
No, of course it's not. Exactly. Yeah, like we said, you just keep plugging away and keep figuring things out for yourself, don't you? You make your dream happen.
That's it.
Right, we'll pop across to the clan, which is patreon.com/TeapotOne. First one, Andy. Evening both. Just a couple of questions, if I may. Matt, what within you has turned your idea into a reality? I'm aware that there's a lot of people who have ideas, but very few see them through. So what is it that drives you to do it?
That's a really good question. And I think the answer for that one, for me, is seeing on social media, and I'm sure you see it as well. For me, it's day in, it's day out, stolen bike posts. All day, every day. I saw one this morning. There was a shop up north that got ram raided overnight, and they took all the enduro bikes and all that. And I think for me, when it finally happened to me, it became personal. And I thought, I know how to do drawings. I know how to weld. Let's just make something. Let's do it. Let's have a go.
Yeah. So you took it as the personal challenge.
I genuinely took it personally. Yeah, I started taking things personally, and I still do to this day. When I see things and I see CCTV footage of people's garages getting raided, and I'm like, this. I genuinely take it personally, even if I've never met them before.
That one you were just talking about, is that the black and white CCTV footage when the car reverses into it, and then there's like a big,
unfortunately,
looting van.
Place, I can't remember. The place was called Apple Yard Motorcycles.
That's the one. That's the one. Yeah,
and
a pal of mine posted about it today.
They came in with a still saw, like a 12-inch blade still saw, and they cut the metal shutters and they smashed the shutters and doors out.
There was like a dozen people there.
That was
all
very
appeared
well
and
thought out.
got stuck in. Oh yeah, 100%.
That was.
And do you know what really annoyed me? And I understand why these people did it, but the car drives through the shot. You know, a car just drives down the street, and it doesn't even. Yeah, they don't even. Nobody even gets that, which I can understand why people wouldn't. There's 12 geezers there with still saws and all sorts. But I get that. But, you know, I think I would just drive my car at them.
Well, yeah, there is that, yeah. I mean, there's definitely a time and a place to be a hero. But yeah, when you're severely outnumbered and they've got a still saw, it's probably not the time to be a hero. That's just the time to call the police.
Yeah, I get that. But then you see, you know, like the bike theft here in London, for example, you see people with the battery-operated grinders just going at it in broad daylight. And people are just stood there filming it and wandering by. I'm like, get stuck in. But
if you ever notice on those videos, there's usually a guy doing the cutting, and then there's a guy watching, standing there with a claw hammer. And he's just fending people off if they try and get a little too close. There's always two of them, at least.
Yeah, at least. Yeah. I had it once going into work. You know, I was going over Westminster Bridge, sat at some lights right near Big Ben, and I had that. I had the bike pulled right in front of me, blocked my path, and behind me was the T-Max scooter 2-up. And I think it was only because I had the helmet cam on my lid. And I remember the young geezer looked straight at it and waved. I wasn't even recording, but he waved, looked at his mates, and they just went off through the red light and off they went. And that was literally right next to Big Ben, broad daylight, like I think about 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah. Mental, isn't it?
They were going in the river if they tried it. Like, Andy also says, second question, what would you think manufacturers could do to reduce bike theft? This question comes up all the time. Yeah. What do you reckon to that?
Manufacturers, I suppose he means the actual motorcycle manufacturers themselves.
Yeah.
Oh, you're still there. I mean, Triumph have tried to do their own thing. They've tried to bring out a few little devices, and they've got a ground anchor. I only know this through going into Triumph dealerships and asking if they would be interested in stock in Fortlox. And they say because Triumph make their own ground anchor, they don't want to do that. So I think the manufacturers need to incorporate more security measures on the bike and realize that nowadays a steering lock with a pin that's thinner than that isn't sufficient. We've all seen the videos. They just stick their foot on the clutch side of the bars, boom, done, gone. Just do better.
I've actually been told don't even put the steering lock on, because if they do burst the steering lock and you manage to get your bike back, the damage that's been done through them busting the steering lock,
sometimes you can you're damaging
it could write the bike off. So you may as well just not bother. I
mean, it's a really insignificant piece of security, isn't it, that they actually put on. There's one cool product that I've seen, which is it's a little thing that bolts down next to the rear caliper, and you just sort of kick it with your foot, and it just goes through the spokes. But I think that the manufacturers, I can't remember the name of it now, but it was about a 1-inch pin, and it's just on a bit of a spring, and then you put the key in, and it pops back out. Manufacturers could do more things like that, and I don't think that was completely foolproof, because there was a few people saying, well, what if you accidentally knocked it while the bike's in motion, or something knocks it while the bike's in motion, and it's just going to go through the back spokes. But there's definitely things that manufacturers could do to up their game. but I don't think they care. It makes no difference to them, does it? Because once they've sold the bike, it's down to the insurance company of the consumer. So why would they be interested in spending hundreds of thousands on R&D to improve the security when it doesn't really affect them in the long term?
I'm sort of puzzled though. What could manufacturers do? This
is a good question, and I'm just trying to think through, a list of things that I've seen that attach to the bike, and that one that I just mentioned was just prime example that popped into my head.
Because manufacturers specialize in building the bike, the motorbike. And then it's all the aftermarket companies such as yourselves that all spring up, your trackers, your physical security, everything like that, even insurance, we all hate insurance. But
when they cast the swing arm, or whenever they manufacture the swing arm, why could they not have a disc lock that is permanently as a part of the swing arm that you just lock it in? It's not detachable from the bike at all. Why could that not be a thing?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That'll then obviously increase the price of the bike, obviously.
It will, and then if your bike then gets stolen and you were just using that, then there's a grey area of, well, it was the manufacturer that supplied it, and I think they stay away for paperwork reasons.
Yeah, or fabricating in more physical points where you can attach your ground anchors, your chains, your, mention competition, like the light lock, all that, rather than us relying on going round either a cast spoke in your wheel, which could get cut through, I suppose, or, the wheel itself, or, I don't know, an engine crash bar, if you put that on, something like that. Physically, like you just said, something maybe in the swing arm or a mounting point somewhere on the bike that's fabricated in.
Yeah, there's definitely scope for improvement from the manufacturers.
Yeah. No doubt. They must have looked at, I'm sure they must have looked at that, but maybe they haven't. Who knows?
Well, hopefully they're watching.
Yeah. All right. Finally, one for Bruce. It's not uncommon for bikers to have locks and other kit to secure their bikes, but how often do they, and on this case, use them, and why not every time? I'm guilty of that, definitely, Andy. I often had locks, and especially one of my tours when we were away in Europe, just never used to bother. That's changed now. Sadly, we were on a tour down to Corsica in October, and we stopped outside Grenoble for the night in a hotel, biker's hotel. Had a big allegedly secure car park. You can see what's coming here. Mm-hmm. And one of the boys parked his bike, a big brand new GSA 1300, right behind mine. And he even said to me, he said, Bruce, you want me to he had like a light lock core thing. He said, do you want me to lock my bike to yours? And I said, nah, don't worry about that, Dale. You'll be fine here. No bothers. So I left my bike totally unlocked. He put that on his, went to bed, and about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, his data tool tracker is phoning him going, your bike's been nicked, it's on the move. And they got in, they cut big industrial, the big massive industrial. Yeah, he was the one that had the lock.
Was it more desirable bike?
Because... Yeah, he'd spent a bit of money on his GSA, and he had the carbon wheels. They're like $6,000 just for the wheels. There was an almost identical GSA one of the other lads had, but he didn't tick all the extra box when he bought the bike, whereas Dale had, and they left everyone else's bikes. There's 15 of us there. They only took Dale's, but we managed to get it recovered. Like the tracker worked, and the French police were decent. They sat and waited and caught the guys coming back for it. So they got them. No, but they smashed up Dale's bike, the wiring. They'd cut a load of wires and stuff in there. Buggers.
For me now.
But from now on, I'll lock it up now.
A tracker is an absolute must for everybody. Yeah. If you are going to be so lazy to just not go click, put a little disc lock on, just have a tracker. Like the one I've got It's a Bristol company. The tracker was like 40 quid. I've had it for about 7 or 8 years now, and it's just gone from bike to bike to bike. And it just goes on the battery. It's not the most secure thing in the world. You can have them where they're like incorporated into the wiring loom and it all gets a bit technical. But this thing I got, it's like 5 quid a month. And I can open my phone now, request an update. It does it every minute or so anyway. And it pinpoints to within a meter. Like that. I don't understand why anybody wouldn't nowadays.
Why you wouldn't? Yeah.
Even if,
who's that? If you don't mind me.
It's called GPS Live.
Oh, okay.
Or
right.
yeah, it's called
Cool.
GPS Live. The app is anyway. And they're a Bristol company. It's just a little cheap tracker unit, 5 quid a month, I think it is, or 6 quid a month, and it's really, really good. So even if your bike's under
nice
£1,000, and this is the thing that I have this conversation quite a lot with people, obviously having trade stands talking about security a lot. It's not the value of your bike up front now. You could have £1,000 motorcycle. I could go and buy like an old CBR 600 right now for £1,000. It gets pinched. Well, yeah, it's a bit of shit, isn't it? But when I then replace that bike and go to insure, what was 90 quid fully comp is now 390 quid for the next 5 years.
Yep.
So it's the knock-on effect
absolutely.
of the theft, you know. And I think if you've got a bike that's sort of £30,000, then your insurance is going to cover all of that, and it is what it is. But there's the majority of us, I would say. I'm going to say the majority. Our bikes are all sub £8,000, I would say. You know, like you when you see commuter bikes, I would say not weekend warriors, like your commuter bikes, you like your phasers and your tracers and all that sort of stuff. Like I said, it's not the initial cost of it being stolen; it's the knock-on effect for the next 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely. There's the reason I have the tracker is when you buying a BMW, you could not, especially the 1300, you couldn't get insured unless it had the tracker fitted. Okay. And that's because apparently once the value of the bike goes over 20 grand, it's now becomes very hard to insure. Yeah. I have no idea how these people who get like, you know, the Ducati Multistrada RSs and stuff, 32 grand, 35 grand.
Some of the Harleys out there now are nearly 50, aren't they?
Jesus, really?
Yeah.
So how do they get insured? I've got no idea how they manage to get insured.
I think it's the CVO. I think you spec up a CVO and you're touching the door of 50 grand.
That's insane. Wow. Bloody hell. They're a different breed, Harley lot, aren't they? They're just a different breed.
I've never had one. I will one day though.
I just wouldn't pay that. You know, I never got Harleys, and then a mate of mine worked at Guildford Harley and said, right, come and try one. And he just threw me a set of keys to one of these big Harleys. I took it out, and do you know what? I mean, it vibrated the crap out of me, but I loved it. Yeah. Like, I really got it. You know, this thing felt alive.
Yeah.
You're just chugging along the road. It was like, okay, I get this. Yeah. I absolutely get it.
Yeah,
definitely.
I've ridden a couple, but I've never owned one myself. I can't remember what model it was. I'm not a massive Harley guy, so I can't sit there and tell you all about it. But the back tire on it was like this, and the front tire on it was like this. And all I remember from that bike was I was going round a roundabout, and it was trying to push me back up. And I was like, no, we are going round a corner. You fucking stay there.
It's fighting you all the way.
It was fighting me to stand back up. And I thought, I don't know if I like this. But it was cool.
I just realised, that's very rude of me. Do you have a tipple of choice for this evening?
I have actually, yeah.
Mate, crack on. I just realised we haven't done that yet, have we?
I'm keeping it classy if you don't mind.
Nuki Brown Ale. Good lad.
Champions. I've not even poured it.
Is it room temperature?
Absolutely not, no.
Has to be. It's not in a glass bottle though, Matt. What's going on?
No, I know. Do you know what? I had some cans in the garage and I almost went and bought a glass bottle purely for the podcast. But I didn't bother in the end. So
when I was
on that note.
Slange.
Cheers.
Cheers to you. Beautiful. Yeah, in the mid-90s when I was at uni in Glasgow, Nuki Brown, for some reason, Nuki Brown was massive. So like we were all drinking Newcastle Brown Ale. You go clubbing at like 2:30, 3 in the morning, drinking bloody Nuki Browns. And then Hooch came. Do you remember Hooch?
Oh, the lemon drip, yeah.
Yeah, Hooch came on the scene. Jeez.
Do you know, I avoided Nuki Brown for years because I was just adamant that it was an old man's drink. And I tried it one day and everything changed. Genuinely, apart from Guinness, I think that's all I drink now.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't go that far. It was all right. I couldn't drink it all the time. But Guinness, I'm finding a love for Guinness again. Yeah, for sure. I'm enjoying that.
Absolutely.
Right. Next question. Just that one, Andy. Patrick Collum. Good evening to you both. Great stuff that there are more people committed to deal with the scourge of motorcycle theft. My question, if either of you could have a magic wand, obviously bike theft wouldn't happen. But unfortunately, there will always be people who want something they don't have and feel they have the right to take. However, what would either of you look for, or another one, what would either of you look for from manufacturers, either to engage with motorcycle security or councils more generally for car parks? Mine, for example, would be more anchor points in places so it adds layers of security to your bike without the need to carry sizable devices. Nevertheless, please feel free to criticise that idea. So again, what can manufacturers do? What can local councils do? Car parks do? All that sort of spiel.
So from my perspective, I think we touched on the manufacturer side of it a second ago.
Yeah.
Councils, they're not required to do a lot. I'm a member of Secured by Design, which is the police initiative as well. And what that means is they've got designing out crime officers. So when the council builds a new building, if it's in a notoriously high crime area, the powers that be could say, yeah, you can build that building, but you have to install 10 units of motorcycle security outside it because of the crime rate. That's when Secured by Design, the crime officers, they'll go through the list of members like myself and they'll find our stuff, and that's what could then be incorporated into the building. So I think councils for definite, and I think the Protex, my Protex is a really good example of this. That could be anywhere and everywhere. You could have a rank of 10 of those outside the library, outside Tesco's, outside wherever you want. And I mean, the logistics of it, you'd have to figure out the whole padlock situation. But if they were there and readily available for you to just roll on in, chuck it through the front wheel, lock it and go. I mean, if you wanted to, you can still use your chain and your disc lock and your everything else that goes with it. But it just gives you that bit more peace of mind that your stuff's still going to be there when you come back. So
absolutely. That's a great idea. Have you spoken with the councils?
I've spoken with Bristol University about that. So I'm in talks with Bristol University about campus. Somebody in the family is a security officer at Bristol Uni. And they said because it's an open campus, the thieves just walk in, take what they want and walk off. There's no gates or, it's all sort of open campus. So to have something like the Protex, you could somehow, I suppose you could figure it out. You could even lock e-scooters down to it. If the deck's narrow enough, you could chuck the back wheel of your bicycle through it. It's just that design, those two uprights and a bar that goes through is so simple, but so effective. It could be absolutely anywhere and a lot of people could utilize it.
I'm just thinking, because I quite often, well, not quite often, I'm not that windswept and interesting, but when I fly away somewhere from the airport, if it's just me, I'm going away somewhere, I ride my bike there. So, for example, I just did a tour out and just went to Australia. I parked my bike at Heathrow and I wasn't convinced it would be there when I got back, I must admit. But I've got the tracker on it so I can monitor it. But, I chucked everything I had on that bike, security-wise. And even then I was like, geez, is this going to be
checking
here
your
or
tracker
not?
every few hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what did happen was on about day 4, day 5, I got a phone call at about 1 a.m. from the tracker, and it's all automated, and it says, a theft has been detected. And I was like, no. So you have to wait for someone to answer on the phone. And I was like, yeah, I'm in Australia. My bike was parked at Heathrow. What's happening? And all it was the battery. It also monitors your battery level.
Yeah,
so it's just the battery had dropped. So that's all that was. So I was like, oh, jeez.
That is
the whole trip I'm checking it.
Yeah, that is the only downside to trackers is, especially on newer bikes, they can put a drain on the battery.
Yeah. Lithium batteries, they hammer the lithium battery,
Yeah.
But thankfully, when I got back, it was flat as a pancake when I got back. But I carry a little booster pack in my top box. So I literally whacked that together. You wait for the old relay to kick in with the lithium, and she started. Thankfully,
perfect,
yeah. That's interesting. That I like that idea of like the councils and even private car parks and places like that, airports, all that sort of stuff. That'd be a great idea to have them.
Yes.
As you said, the logistics. How would you get the logistics to work with padlocks and stuff?
The way I approached it with the university, I said you could have the empty units all over campus, and when the students come and enroll, there could be a form to fill out. Good. Do you have a motorcycle? Do you have an e-scooter? Whatever. Would you like to, on a deposit basis, would you like the bolt and the padlock? That's then your responsibility. Chuck it in your backpack, wherever you want, however you want to carry it around. And you just roll up around campus. You find one that's empty. You use your pin and padlock, chuck your bike in there, boom, gone. And all the keys would have to be different. But that's how I approached the university with it. And they seem keen. So we're in talks at the minute. But it's such a new product. It's only been landed about a fortnight. So getting onto councils and airports, I mean, that's definitely conversations that need to and will happen, but haven't yet.
Yeah. Just as you were talking there, I was thinking to myself, I wouldn't even, being on your side of things, I wouldn't even go, right, we'll supply the padlock, just give them the bolt, so they effectively rent the bolt and then they use their own padlock, because then they've got the issue with the key.
Then, if they lose the keys, it's whatever, it's your problem.
Their problem. Plus, you don't have, say, me one semester using that bolt and padlock. I give it back, but I've still got a key.
Yeah.
So there's not, you don't have that sort of security
that's
issue.
A good shout, fair play.
Yeah. Interesting, that. Mate, I hope that works out. That could be a great little idea, that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if that takes off,
if anyone's listening...
anybody...
If anyone's listening from any of the airports or councils...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Because I would.
I would, yeah, definitely.
I tell you what, if I need to park my bike somewhere and I know that airport or that car park, that premises has secure parking for my bike and it's got one of the Protex thing there, that's where I'm going to go and park my bike.
Yeah.
And I'll pay a little bit more to park my bike there.
The airport they'll make their own scratch off of it, won't they? If whilst you're doing your booking and it says, do you require secure parking for your motorcycle, extra £10 for the week? Well, no brainer, isn't it? I'll do that. Yeah, absolutely. You're already paying 100 quid or whatever it is to park your bike there.
And it could all be automated, couldn't it? You could just... You just have machines, kiosks there, and you type in your code and you get. Maybe I'm giving away ideas here. Maybe I want to chat to you about this after off camera. But you know what I mean? It would all work.
Like the in-post lockers that you put your parcels in. Yeah. You could have a miniature version just full of padlocks. Take your padlock.
Yeah.
There you go, and put it back at the end.
Or the bolt. Yeah, done. Yeah, great idea.
Ideas.
Right, this time next year, Rodders.
Yeah, don't put this in the podcast. People would be stealing it.
It's trademarked.
Fortlox
is trademarked
that before we started talking. Yeah,
this is it. Yeah, it's all done. Right, cheers that one, Patrick. Next one, Rebecca Christie. Evening, both. I hope you're both doing well. All good, thank you, Rebecca. Hope you are too. Question for Matt. Is there a specific type of flooring necessary to secure the wheel lock on the garage floor? I am assuming concrete. Also, is it recognised by any of the insurance companies? I love Rebecca. She's a very practically minded person.
That is a good question. That is a solid, thought-out question. So
it is.
Concrete, you're absolutely correct there. Yeah, concrete would be your best option. Tarmac is only so thick, but it will still work absolutely fine. So they're supplied with expansion bolts, so that surface would work just fine. I have known of a guy who's actually got one in his living room with a hardwood floor, and he's screwed it into the hardwood floor, and I expressed my concerns, and he said, well, they can try and rip it out and take it if they want. This then just got a 25 kilogram disc lock attached to it as well. So
and a very angry dog.
And exactly, and then a big hole in your wooden floor. Yeah. So you could attach it wherever you like, but I supply them with concrete expansion bolts. Mm-hmm. That's the long shot.
Do you do the fitting? Do you do a fitting service, or is it purely down to the punter?
I wanted to offer the fitting service, and I looked into it, and I rang my insurance companies. I've got an SDS drill. I've got the stuff to do it. That's not the hard bit, and you could get someone to sign a disclaimer. But for me and the insurance companies, the hard bit was, unless I'm using sort of a metal detector, like a stud finder, whatever you want to call it. If I then go to somebody's garage and I'm drilling in the floor and I hit a gas pipe or a water pipe, what do I then do? Do I go, sorry, mate, you signed a waiver to say it's not my problem, and just leave? Like, what do you do? So I thought, actually, there's potential for that to go horribly wrong. And for what I'm going to make doing it, it's not really worth it. You're better off as the consumer if you're not confident drilling into your own floor, if you don't have an SDS drill, which like many people don't. There's so many local builders like on Checker Trade and things like that will just pop round your house. It's only drilling into the concrete 6 times and putting some bolts down. Any reputable builder will happily do that for you. Yeah. But it has cost money.
It's definitely a case of was it the KISS principle, isn't it? Keep it simple, stupid. It's just like concentrate on making the product. The fitting can be down to somebody else.
Days and days overcomplicating what doesn't need to be overcomplicated.
Second question from Rebecca. Question for both. In these turbulent, violent times, the idea of fecking off to some remote place in the northern Canada is looking really appealing to me. I fancy packing up a Ural with a survival kit and heading off-grid. What would be each of your off-grid motorcycles, and what piece of equipment or personal item would you have to take? Mine would be a bottle of Dom Papa rum and a proper glass. Cheers to you both, and see you at the clan, mate, Bruce. Cheers, Rebecca. Right, okay, so off-grid. Off-grid motorcycle, an essential piece of personal kit.
Off-grid motorcycle. So I'm going to take it back to one of my previous motorcycles, which I do sort of regret selling. And that was a 92 Africa Twin, the RDO4 750 V-twin. Mm-hmm. That thing just started every day. No issue. And that if I was going to take something around the world, and I've had the last bike I had was the F900 GS BMW. And it's an amazing bike. But with the Africa Twin, if I go into a gigantic puddle and it conks out, I'm pretty confident I can figure out what's happened. If I did that on a newer bike that's packed full of electronics and it conks out, and you're in the middle of nowhere and you're out backing, then that's probably a less than ideal situation. So the 92 Africa Twin RDO4, that's my pick of the litter for doing that. What was the second part of the question? I'm sorry, I forgot what she said.
What I'm going to ask first, Matt, is why did you get rid of it?
I was doing a lot of off-roading, like a lot, and it just so happens...
That's your first mistake.
No, the tarmac. The tarmac is the devil. Stay in the mud as long as possible. I was taking this thing on sort of rocky lanes, and there's a few notorious ones around by me, and they are very unforgiving. Every single time I went off-roading, something broke on that bike. But I'm not saying I popped down a gravel track and I was just bimbling down the grass and a bit of we were doing some pretty gnarly stuff. But I'd get back and the headstock bearings are blown out. And then the next time I go, I
Yeah.
get back and the back wheel bearing's blown out. And then I get back the next time and a spoke's bent. And I'm just like, oh. It's just... So I thought, let's go for something a little bit more modern. So I jacked that one in. I delivered that to a guy in London, and he had an X Series lock off of me as well, because he had to park it outside his block of flats.
Oh,
So I gave him the one that I was using at the time. And I went to the F900 GS, and what a bike! It's such a good bike.
yeah, I suppose it would be. Yeah, were you taking that off road as well?
Yeah. I was taking that off road.
Yeah.
I did one sort of long form YouTube video of that one off road, because there wasn't too many at the time. I haven't checked since, but excuse me. Yes, I did take that off road. Put the big Mitas knobbly tires on it. Had the crash bars.
Oh yeah.
It was shockingly bad.
I can't remember if I've ridden the 900. Is it?
Do it.
I can't remember if I've ridden the 900 or not.
The bike on the road is fantastic. Mitas Enduro Trail Plus Extremes, or whatever they are. The entire time, when you pull out the dealership, you got 2 brand new tires and it feels a bit skatey, and you're like, oh, all right, it'll wear off. 1,000 miles later, it still felt like I'm riding on wet grass.
Oh,
and I just thought, no, this is the tires. It's the tires. And it would get to a point. So I actually had to permanently ride with my TPMS light on the bike, because if I ran the front tire at the BMW's recommended pressure and I went over 70 miles per hour, the bars are doing this, and it started getting a death wobble on. So if I dropped the tire pressure on the front down to about 22 psi, I had to deal with this flashing light the entire time, but the bike rode lovely. So I picked that
22. Jesus.
22 psi on the front was the only pressure you could run that front tire without it death wobbling on you.
Oh my God.
On a 74 plate bike as well. I just felt like I ruined it.
We had, on that Australia tour I've just done, we had a couple that came down from Perth in Australia. They had their own bikes with them, and they were heading, after they did our tour, they were heading to Tasmania to do, it wasn't a GS Trophy, I don't think, it was like a GS Safari type thing, but they were doing it on knobbly tires, and we were riding some, fairly technical, twisty rainforest mountain roads. Awesome roads. We're all on road tires, and these two are on like knobblies, and they were just carting on GSAs, big GSAs. Yeah. And they were just carting down the road. I was like, bugger that. I don't fancy riding these curves with them, but they did it. Yeah, no bother.
Yeah.
Cool. Don't fancy that.
I had the same tires. I had the same tires on the Africa Twin, and it didn't do it. So I don't know if it was something to do with the weight balance, perhaps, on the F900. That's not something I'd even considered until just then when you were talking. But I had exactly the same tyres on the RDO4 Africa Twin. And I could bomb that thing anywhere. Yeah, absolutely anywhere. And it was never an issue. And yeah, now you mention it, I stuck them on the F900 and it's deadly. So maybe it might be different on the GSA. I don't know, because you've got a 19-inch front wheel, haven't you? But
I know very little about the technical aspects of bikes. I get on, turn the key or push the button, it goes vroom vroom, ride the bike. It's pretty much the extent of it with me, really, to be honest with you.
Yeah, fair play.
I will. Right. Oh, yeah. The other part of Rebecca's question was, what would be your special bit of equipment or personal item that you'd have to take?
Ooh, the personal item I'd have to take. It's a very... Do you know what? I'm unprepared for that question. There's many things I'd like to take. Probably my heated jacket.
Oh, that's an option. That's quite practical.
It is. It's game changer as well, isn't it? Have you got one?
I always just, heated jacket? Oh, yeah. Mate,
Change, isn't it?
I was your archetypal jigsaw boy, right? No matter what the weather was, I rode my bike. I wore leathers. I didn't own waterproofs. Didn't have heated grips. No Gore-Tex. Fuck all that. Not doing that. I'm a biker. And if it was cold or wet, I'd put a fleece on. You know, it was just that was
just
it.
get a cold and wet fleece at the end of it as well. Yeah,
Exactly, literally freeze. Yeah, and fast forward to now, I've got the GS. I love a top box. I've got a rucker. I've got a peak lid, heated jacket, heated gloves. Fan bloody tastic. I've even got heated socks. Oh my God, they're the best thing in the
heated
world.
socks.
Mate, they're not very practical because the wires that go down to the socks, when you throw your leg over the bike, one of them always comes out. So you end up with one hot foot and one cold foot. So I don't really wear them anymore.
Yeah.
But
No, I've never tried. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, when it's proper cold, then all that get up is fantastic. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've never tried heated gloves.
Really?
But I've had heated grips, and I think heated grips almost put me off of heated gloves, because I don't know if you find the same, but with heated grips, the palm of your hand is red hot, and your knuckles are still frozen.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to like move my hands around the grip to just warm up my fingertips because I can't feel them. And I suppose that in a roundabout way is I've never even entertained the idea of heated gloves, but I can imagine they're very nice.
Hand guards. That's what I love on the big old tractor. They've got nice big hand guards. So BMW heated grips are like the surface of the sun, aren't they? So I just wear thin summer gloves all year round on that. I get away with it. But I tell you what's a game changer, and you kind of have to just accept the fact that you're probably now a dad that wears socks and sandals, is bar muffs. Have you ever had the muffs on the handlebars?
I haven't. No, I've seen them on the delivery scooter guys.
Yeah, I did it. No. I did it on my Jigsaw in Canada because it was like minus 38, I think it hit, and my heated grips packed in. So I had. I bought a set of these like skidoo handlebar muff things that you just cable tie over the grips. Amazing. And when I got back to the UK, I ended up. Oh, they were amazing, absolutely amazing. I don't know if you've lost all street cred. But
then if you're in a cold country, I think you can get away with it a little bit more. If you're just being a bit sensitive riding around Kent.
My mate ended up, he was a sports bike fanatic, and he ended up buying the KTM Super Adventure S, I think it was, he got. And then he just thought, well, okay, I'm going to go the whole hog. So I think he got a top box, and then he even got handlebar muffs on there. And he was like, it's a game changer. And this geezer's an ex-miner. He's enormous, this bloke, right? So you're not going to argue with him. And he's like, these things are brilliant. Game changer. So he loves a muff now. In fact, I've just seen who the next question is, and that's him, Mark Fulcher. Sorry, Fulcher, I've just outed you. Yeah, handlebar muffs. They're fantastic. What would mine be then? What would be my personal item? Well, bike-wise, if it's the end of the world, it's going to have to be the best bike in the world, so it would be a GS. Personal item. I always say my phone, but if it's the end of the world, that's not going to be any use, is it?
Not if you're really out in the sticks. You could charge it on your bike, I suppose, but you're not going to have any signal, are you?
But you wouldn't anyway, would you? Like if it's all come on top and it's Armageddon time.
No.
There's going to be nobody to call anyway, and no Tinterweb. So what would be my personal...
I like Rebecca's idea with just a little tipple and a proper glass.
Yeah, bugger it, why not?
Just
enjoy, not? Yeah.
See,
nice single malt.
Adam Riemann, do you ever watch him?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He has a bag of wine. He takes a little bag of red wine out of him, back in. Classic idea, that. I love that.
I am full of respect and admiration for that bloke, for what he produces. Because, like, if you film any sort of stuff, you appreciate the time that it takes to set a camera up and do all that. And he does so many sort of third-person shots where he's obviously set a camera
following him
and the drone, and I'd love to do that with the drone, but you can't do that on the road. You know, it's like it's different doing it off road.
The guy goes like to the extreme. He goes way off into the sticks, and he does go by himself, as far as I'm aware. So how is he doing this drone stuff? Does his drone track his movement? Does it just follow him?
Yeah.
Does he then?
Yeah.
I assume that's the way it is. And you see the shots where, and because I've done quite a bit of filming on the bike as well, not crazy amounts, but you see the shots of him coming around the corner and then blasting past the camera, and I'm like, you've already been there, you've got off, you've set your camera up, you've rode back that way, you've turned around just to come back and do it again on camera. And it gives you an appreciation of it, doesn't it? I mean, I think the last long form I did was about 14 minutes, but it was about 2 days of editing.
It's true.
I got the sound recorder in my backpack going.
Oh, you did the full hog, did you? Wow.
Oh yeah, I had the sound recorder in the backpack, like the external sound recorder, because I wanted it to pick up the exhaust, and I had the DJI up inside. I actually cut a hole in the cheek pad of my helmet, and I had that inside it because I wanted no wind noise. I wanted proper audio so people didn't get bored of it. And then setting up the GoPro, and I get 15 minutes up the road and my GoPro runs out of memory, and I'm like, right, I've got to stand sitting here on the side of the road deleting my old videos off the GoPro because I forgot to do it before I left. So yeah,
we've all been there, mate.
I do know it. Yeah. Yeah, I can.
Yeah, Adam Ryman. I think he's one of the best out there. He's probably my top one, I would say, at the moment.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Pretty damn special what he produces. Good quality stuff. Makes me sick. Anyway, never mind. Right, just that one, Rebecca. Right, the last one from the clan, Mark Fulcher. Help me, ducks. Not to sound like a right vegan version of a Karen, but in reality, don't we just think that whatever is made and designed or engineered, the reprobates will just find a way around it, and it just becomes another Instagram one hot wonder product? Not knocking the tech, I'm an engineer, so appreciate the effort and thought that goes into this, but I find it hard to believe that something will beat the Thieves unless proven otherwise. In the end, if they want it, they will take it. Okay, what do you think about that?
Do you know what? And that topic, that topic actually comes up more than you think. So for me, he's right in the sense of you can put as much stuff on your bike as you want. You could have the X series on the front and the Protex on the back and chains and disc locks. If your bike's in a unit 2 miles away and there's no one around to hear them, they can stay there all night long, swapping batteries, putting different grinders on. They will take it. If you've got an expensive bike, I'm just going to throw like M1000 RR out there, right? 28 grand bike, and it's stolen to order, and they turn up 4 of them in a car with claw hammers and all that. They are going to take it. You can just do what we can do as a community, every single thing possible in our power to slow them down. That's all we can do. Slow them down to the point that they either get bored and move on. They walk into your garage, they see this monstrous hunk of fluorescent yellow metal stuck around the wheel and go, yeah, sod that. Let's go and find the guy who's just relying on a disc lock. That's what they want in reality, isn't it? Look, I'm going to say 98% of these guys are chancers. Maybe 1 or 2 of them, they'll turn up, they've got a grinder, they've got bolt cutters. They're not expecting something of that magnitude to be holding the bike to the floor. So I'd like to think I'd like to think that the X Series and the Protex are pretty up there when it comes to home security devices for your bike. But there is not a single thing on the market that is impenetrable. There isn't. And you can look at the things like Hip Lock and Light Lock. They do some fantastic things. Like they've got the anti-angle grinder stuff. And they both use a different composite inside. But you can still cut through these things. It takes you, 8 minutes to cut through it, but you can still cut through it. So nothing will stop them if they've got enough time. We can just slow them down as much as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. As you addressed there, it's making the bike as unattractive to steal as possible and difficult to steal as possible.
And another factor for me was people spending hundreds and hundreds of pounds on disc locks and chains and D-locks, and you could like one of the hip locks is probably like 250 quid. Yeah, great. They will drag it out. And I actually watched a video the other day of that exact scenario. I couldn't say what locks were on it. It was just CCTV footage. But there was an Africa Twin that they dragged out of this guy's garage on its side, like on the crash bars, and they just dragged it by the tailplate over to the van, and they sort of got it half in the van, and they just drove off down the road with the front end hanging out the van.
Jeez.
I thought, well, so that's things like that. It wasn't from that video, but things like that is the reason why I was so hell-bent on creating a series of products that physically bolt your bike to the floor. Because they cannot drag it away. They are going to be in your garage making a shit ton of noise for a long, long time to get that bike. So when we went through Sold Secure, I actually take the one that they used for testing, I take that to trade shows with me and show people what Sold Secure managed to do in 5 minutes with a grinder. And they were cutting through the side. He said, I'm not going to attack this shroud that's covering the padlock because there's too much steel. I'm not going to get into it in 5 minutes. It's not going to happen. He says, I'm going to try and bypass and cut the whole side of the lock off instead. So I've got a big gusset on the side, and he got stuck on the gusset, and he actually, in 5 minutes of grinding, he didn't
We've all been there. We've all been there, Matt. Sorry.
Stuck on the gusset.
Sorry, mate.
In 5 minutes.
I'm a child. Sorry.
No, you know, you took your opportunity. I appreciate that. He didn't even get to the pin that holds the padlock in 5 minutes. So for me, that was a huge sense of relief. You know, this guy he went through 2 discs, a spare battery, and he was cutting on this lock for 5 minutes solid, which might not sound like a long time, but when you're on the grinder, 5 minutes is a long time. Yeah. Especially if
it's a lot of noise, isn't it?
It's a lot of noise. It's a lot of time, and he barely made a dent in it, barely made a scratch. So I was well over the moon with that.
Yeah. How does it work then with the Sold Secure? It is Sold Secure, isn't
Sold
it?
Secure,
the accreditation.
Yeah. So that
you pick what level you want to go for, or do they just go for it and then award whatever they think?
No, you pick what level you want to go for, and then they'll test it to certain specifications. So whenever you're shopping for a disc lock, you'll most likely see Sold Secure Gold, which is the common ground for disc locks and chains. Sold Secure Gold, and that incorporates trying to pick the keyway, bolt cutters, I think hacksaw, and I couldn't tell you the amount of time. It might be 90 seconds or 60 seconds. I can't tell you off the top of my head, but they don't include the grinder attack. If it's certified as diamond, they include the grinder attack, which for powered cycle diamond, which is like pretty much everything on the market, it's a 90-second attack. So that's they do 90 seconds of cutting, 90 seconds of bolt cutters, 90 seconds. Every single attack they hit it with, it's 90 seconds on a stopwatch. When you then move into, SS105 ground anchor diamond, they then up that to 5 minutes. So it's 5 minutes. It's 5 minutes of drilling the padlock, 5 minutes of drilling the bolts on the floor, 5 minutes with a builder's bar trying to just pop the padlock off,
lever it up,
5 minutes with a grinder, and the last one, I think, the grinder was the last one. The one before it was map gas, and they had the gas torch on the pin until it was glowing hot, and then they came in with the chisel and punch, a hammer and chisel, and they were trying to, while the steel was soft, they were trying to chisel the head of the pin off. So like, these guys don't mess around when they're testing. They don't mess around. And the guy we had was a big boy as well. He clearly hit the gym as well. But he was really, really lovely. So with Sold Secure, you pick you pick what you want to go for. They send you a list of the attacks, which is quite daunting to read, and you're looking at this list going, Jesus Christ. But when you're actually stood there watching them do it, it's amazing. It's incredible. For me, the big thing is, I filmed all of it because I wanted to like if something happened and there was a weak point or something, I had everything on film and I wanted to review it.
Yeah. Learn from and develop from it.
And they don't say to you, don't post it on Facebook or Instagram, but what they say to you is, we strongly advise that you don't post this on social media because you are just advertising. If we get into it, you're advertising how to get into it.
Yeah.
So if you actually YouTube search sold secure testing, nothing. I think there's one video and that's from Sold Secure and it's a promotional video, but that's why you will never see footage of Sold Secure's testing facilities, because they pretty much tell you don't post anything from in here.
Makes sense though, doesn't it? Makes sense.
It absolutely does. Yeah, absolutely does. Yeah.
So,
you know, when we live in a day and age where you want to post everything, and but it just purely makes sense, you know. So didn't bother.
Well, in terms of Fortlox, then as a company, what is in the pipeline for development then that you can speak about?
So at the moment, the Protex being the newest thing, you know, that's been in development for sort of the last 4 or 5 months. And that went through all of the same stages that the X series did, you know, drawing. I didn't make this one out of wood. I just sort of hoped for the best when I got it all cut out of steel, based on my technical drawings in the living room. But at the moment, I'm just focused on building the brand. I'm not focused on introducing any more products at the minute. I just want to focus on the ones that I've got. So I want to push the X series. I want to push the Protex. I've got a few smaller ones which you've seen, which is the disc lock and stuff. That disc lock is from a company called SXP, and that disc lock is Sold Secure Gold rated. And I've just got that one in a nice Fortlox carry case. So there's a few little things on the website. You know, I do helmet hangers.
Yeah, I saw them.
A couple of accessories, you know, and they do really well. Like the helmet hangers and the disc locks and that, they fly out the door. It's like every other day, it's just like boxes going out. So that's really cool. But for me, I want to build Fortlox as a brand. I don't just want to build it as a company that sells security products. So Fortlox is going to be, say like the umbrella, and I'm going to have off branches from it. So I used to be, still am, a professional detailer. So I was just focusing on cars before, and I was working in a dealership. We were doing some really high-end stuff, you know, like your Lambos, R8s, Ferraris, Bentley, all of it. We were doing nice cars. And I was doing that professionally. And I had all the kit sat in the garage. So once Fortlox was set up and running, and it's just now a case of social media presence and boxing orders, like the legwork is done, I decided to kickstart the detailing again, but this time just focus on motorcycles. So I've now kickstarted an off branch of Fortlox, which is called FX Moto Detailing, and I only do motorcycles, and that one has taken off. Well, it was extraordinary, to be honest, how quickly that one took off. I think it was the right time of year because everybody's sort of digging their bikes out now. But yeah, so there's FX Moto Detailing, and I'm going to branch into motorcycle sales as well. And I think the long-term goal from this, and you may chuckle, is I want a cafe.
Oh yeah.
I want a motorcycle cafe, you know, on the level of Bike Shed or Baffle House, those sorts of establishments, you know, like the red Chesterfields, the Chesterfield sofas with the bikes on display, and you know, that sort of industrial. I love it so much, and I always wanted to do some sort of cafe. So for me, if I can, over the next sort of 5 or 10 years, if I can build Fortlox to be this sort of umbrella brand where, you know, like it's going to be, well, we'll pop down the cafe and we'll have the guys detail the bike and machine polish it while we're having breakfast. And there's a shop upstairs. We'll go and look at security. And for me, that gets me going. And that's where I want to be with Fortlox.
Oh, mate. With stuff like that, do you set yourself like a deadline? Do you say, right, in 5 years or 10 years or?
No, I should though. I should, and I should hold myself accountable to those deadlines as well. But I don't. I think now I've made the leap to go self-employed. I know what it feels like. So rather than, I don't know, maybe I should just set myself some deadlines and say, right, in the next 3 years, I'm going to have an established motorcycle sales company. In the next 5 years, I'm going to have an established cafe.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I'm sort of just rolling with the punches at the moment.
Because I'm at a stage now where I think I maybe have a bit of a pessimist. Maybe not pessimistic's not the right word, but I kind of look at what I do. Like making shitty videos on YouTube and stuff. Now I have my touring wing. I've got chicken strips, and I've gone into business with a chap called Simon Weir. So we're in a good place with chicken strips, but it's still. Particularly around the YouTube side of things with my brand, with TeapotOne, I kind of think to myself, I'm knocking on 50 now. I'll be 50 at the end of this year. And I think to myself, can I still be doing this in like 5 years, 10 years time? Are people still going to want to watch some fat Scottish guy on YouTube? What will I be doing? And it does cross my mind. And I think, if I don't do this, what do I, what does TeapotOne become? How do I grow this? Because I can't live off YouTube. I don't get the views for that. So I survive because of my touring and because of Patreon and lots of different things coming together. I think to myself, how do I grow that? How does it become like
where do you go from here? Yeah,
and a profitable business,
Yeah, I mean, going back to when you were talking with 44 Teeth, Baron von Grumble.
Yeah.
You touched on this topic a little bit, didn't you?
Yeah, we touched on everything on that one. Yeah.
I've completely lost my train of thought then. I was trying to think of his name and I've just completely lost what I was about to say then.
Chris, about how do you develop your business and how does it become like turning your brand into like that business machine?
So, yes, I mean, like you guys were touching on before, long form content is starting to run its course, I think. It's not dying off. That's a really strong way of putting it. But the era of the doom scroll is very much here. I find myself now doom scrolling on the reels or shorts way more than I sit and watch long form stuff on YouTube. Way more. And it wasn't the case 5 years ago. I would quite happily, I'd sort of cast my phone to the TV and I'd sit and watch an hour of like Adam Riemann or something like that. But I just don't tend to anymore. I think that's just the way it's going across the nation as well.
The more people I speak to about this, though, I'm definitely detecting a pushback to the doom scroll, to the short form content. And even YouTube themselves are saying there is now becoming like a rebirth of long form content, but it's different. People are now, it's not so much they just want entertainment from the content. People are looking for almost like an education angle. So it's like, can you teach somebody something? Can you provide some information? It's the how-to vids. How-to vids are becoming big again.
That makes
for
a lot
me,
of sense.
what I find myself watching now, I was a pal of mine, Mr. Fish, he's another YouTuber, he was here today, and he's the same. Like I find myself sitting and watching like history shows on YouTube. It's like you're using it as an educational means. That's what I'm finding now. It's like it's almost I'm getting so hacked off with myself for sitting there looking at tits and ass on like reels and shorts that it's like there's got to be more to, I'm wasting my life looking at just shit. There's got to be more to this. So I'm actively looking for something that's going to enrich the mind, feed the mind more.
Definitely. If there's a question that you have about something in life and you can't find the answer on YouTube, then I mean,
Does
I
it
quite
really
often do it.
exist?
Even to this day, if something happens, right? If I'm like, for example, if I'm doing some welding, and like not necessarily with the lock stuff because it's relatively straightforward. But if I'm doing something a little bit more complicated, like aluminium or something like that, and it all goes to shit, and I'm looking at this like disgusting pigeon turd in front of me, and I'm like, what just happened there? Like, I've got an extremely good welder. Everything's clean. What happened? I go straight to YouTube, and there's this one guy called Pacific Arc TIG Welding, and his whole channel is, this went wrong. This is what you did wrong. This is how to correct it.
Yeah.
And that's the basis of his whole channel, is just correcting people's mistakes on TIG welding. And
niche down in
like
a niche.
That. Yeah, and it's such a small niche. But I find myself just sat there in the workshop with my lid still on my head, just watching this guy going, "What did I do wrong?" So, but yeah, I think you're right when you say about the rebirth of long form. Then that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I think people are just maturing. Like the sort of. I think YouTube's been around long enough now that I think people are sort of done with that, with the titillation. There's always going to be the titillation side of stuff, but I think people are starting to want more from it, I think. And maybe as people are now focusing less on, well, they don't focus on traditional TV anymore. It's all streaming, isn't it? And it's like, well, YouTube isn't just that special thing anymore. You can effectively get YouTube on your TV through watching any of the streaming services. You can search for whatever you like on there. It's not the same as, what you're going to get on YouTube, but the options available to people are so big now, aren't they? I think YouTube's...
I have Sky.
I do see YouTube changing a little bit. Yeah, that's right. I do see YouTube changing. I do. And I do think long form's going to come back. I hope it does, because that's all I kind of do. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's
definitely... Right, went a little bit off.
Yeah, we did go on. Yeah, go on. Get back on topic. We're just rambling now.
Yeah, I'm good at that. Yeah. We'll go to Facebook next. So that's just facebook.com/TeapotOne.
Yep.
Mark Mundy, being room temperature. I don't get that. I don't understand that. It's just a comment, being room temperature. Am I missing something?
What was it? Is he talking about this? Was it a recent comment?
No, it was 1 day ago.
Oh, well, maybe he preempted that I was going to have fridge cold Newcastle Brown.
Oh yeah, I said room temperature, didn't I, when you mentioned Nuki Brown? Well, this is, I don't know what... Sorry, Mark, I don't really get your comment.
Yeah, sorry.
Next one, Craig Willits. Not a question, but I appreciate people like Matt for creating better products to help us secure our bikes. I've ordered something in the past that he knocked up from his spare parts. Both of you keep up the good work. We've got a satisfied customer there.
Amazing. I really like the name rings a bell, to be fair, yeah. But knocked up from my spare parts, I'm not sure.
Nathan Turner.
I'm going to be on Shopify later going, what did he order?
Yeah. Tracking it down, yeah.
Craig Willits.
Nathan Turner.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, Craig Willits. It is W-I...
yeah, the name rings a bell, it does, yeah.
2 L's, E-T-T-S. God, my eyesight's going. Jesus. I used to be short-sighted. Now I find myself like... I'm looking at the screen that's a foot away and I'm trying to...
I've got reading glasses, I just refuse to wear them.
The same. The optician said I needed them. I was like, no, I'm not having them. No, I don't need them. Maybe I do. Nathan Turner, glad you're back doing the podcast. Cheers, Nathan. Question. What is one of your favourite funny stories from one of your... I think this is to me, sorry, pal. One funny story from one of your bike trips that makes you smile. Nathan, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Canada. Funny story from one of the bike trips. Oh, jeez. Funny story. There's quite a lot I can't talk about, to be honest. Those kind of tours. Funny story. Well, I think the most memorable one is... Yeah, exactly. Unless I capture it on film, in which case it's going on YouTube. I think the most memorable tour still has to be the bobsleigh one. It's when we went to the Ardennes in March. and we should have gone in April, and it snowed on us. We literally got stuck in snow, and yeah, it was just a proper adventure. Sounds horrendous when you talk about it now, but yeah, all the lads that were involved in that, everyone still talks about it, and thankfully they're still talking to me. But
fair play.
That's it, Nathan. I'm not giving you any more details from the tours, I'm afraid. They are strictly for the tours. Is some criticism here. Sean Bickley. Bit pricey at €709, though, and another €59 for the padlock. We've addressed this, but over to you, Matt. I mean, price, what do you say about price?
It's a premium product at the end of the day. I would absolutely love to bring that price down for everybody, but it's just, whilst manufacturing in the UK, it's just not achievable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's all it comes down to.
I don't think people realise that. Yeah,
and there is absolutely no greed on my part. I promise you that there is no greed. It is a case of that's what it needs to be. The stainless steel is what does it. I can manufacture them out of carbon steel for considerably less. And that comment pops up quite often, not so much in euros. He's obviously abroad or maybe in Ireland or something. But
Ireland, yeah, I'd imagine.
Yeah. So let's say it does pop up quite often, which sprung me to look into doing them out of carbon steel. And I'm hoping if I do release a carbon steel version, it'll be a couple £100 cheaper. It's the stainless that does it. It's extortionate.
So what's the difference then in terms of product quality or security from doing it in stainless or carbon steel?
So for me, it was the fact that not everybody has the luxury of indoor storage. And if you're going to spend £400, £500, £600 on a product, I want to see it looking as good as the day it turned up in 10 years' time. I don't want that thing sat on the driveway because I don't have a garage. And I've sold a few to guys around London that don't have garages. Like the guy example that I sold the Africa Twin to, it's outside a block of flats. You don't want to be looking at that thing after spending £600 in 2 years' time, and there's rust coming down the edges and it's looking all tatty, and you're thinking, I've got to get that down the powder coaters to make it look nice again. So that's the majority of the reason why I decided to go for premium materials.
Yeah, get you. And I suppose as a would-be thief, if you look at something and it's all rusty and cruddy looking, you're going to be like, fancy my chances at that, as opposed to something that's, pristine and looking good. Maybe that's just that's my take on it anyway. Right, the questions over on Instagram. I think you've seen them anyway. There's somebody, Sharkboy44, is obviously advertising another product. Yeah. Is that one of your competitors?
I believe so.
I've seen that. And Cornish Biker Girl, she's asking about a restock.
She's asking if stuff was stocked up. Yeah.
Are there any supply issues at the moment? If people were to go to your website, what sort of turnover?
No.
Not turnover. Turnaround should people expect?
There's no supply issue. I simply sold out of the disc locks, and I'm just waiting for more to arrive. That's all it is.
Gotcha.
They went out of stock, I'd say a week or so ago. I was a little bit slow on the uptake of restocking, so that is entirely my fault. I do apologise. But that is simply that, yeah.
So as I think you covered this earlier, but let's do it again. As a customer then that goes to the website, if you want to order the, apologies, is it Protex, is that right?
Yeah, Protex, yeah. The new one, yeah.
So if you want to order the Protex, when would that be arriving at the house if you were to order it tomorrow?
I had a phone call from a chap this morning who he contacted me through the website chat last night, and he asked about the Protex. He rang me this morning. He then put an order in at about 11 o'clock, and I managed to get that out for delivery before 1.
Bloody hell. Right, it's the same day almost.
So, in theory, I've got a few of them in stock. That's the thing. So I don't keep the X series in stock. I've got one or two kicking around, like my old show one and the one that I take with me for trade shows and stuff. But purely because of the cost of the steel, I do those ones made to order. So those take a few weeks. But the Protex, because they're smaller, they're a bit more compact, I can get a load of that cut at the same time, and I can just run over and pick it up from the steel merchants. I do make those in batches of 5. So those are on the shelf, ready to go. I got 2 left, I think, at the moment. So yeah, like I said, the guy ordered it this morning, and it was out to every before the postman turned up this afternoon.
So is the flagship one is the X series then?
The X series, yeah. The flagship is the X series, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's going to be the pinnacle product that I can then build around. Yeah.
Gotcha. Oh, nice one. As a startup business owner, what would you ask, or what do you want from the community? What could help you as a business owner trying to get the business promoted and going?
For me, for promotions, I think something as simple as reposting can just make all the difference, you know? And I've actually noticed there's a couple of things that you've reposted. And when you look back through, the traction that they gain is way better. So for me, as a small business owner, it doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't take you any time. If you like the look of something and you appreciate what a business owner is trying to do as a startup, just repost it. I do it all the time for people, even if it's not my niche. And I see things and I'm like, this dude's making knife handles. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I'll repost it on my private page. So that I think that goes a long way for people.
Oh, I'm glad that's helped. Yeah, I mean, Instagram. I do most of my stuff on Instagram now because it's all linked, isn't it, to Facebook and stuff. But they made it so easy just with that little sort of recycle arrowy thing. You just tap that and you repost it. Yeah,
exactly.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
absolutely, folks. If you've got a creator that you value, you like, you want to help support, these days sharing. Liking and commenting, subscribing, following, all that. Yeah, absolutely. That's cool, that's brilliant. Sharing is the single biggest thing you can do to help your creator or your business that you enjoy. Just sharing their content, that is the number one thing at the moment for sure. So do that, folks, if you can. Right, dude. That's us almost at the 2-hour mark.
Cool, man.
Apologies, we can't talk all
night. Flown
by,
hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. It's crazy. It's crazy how quick it goes. Mind you, when we had Mossy on for 7.5 hours, that felt quite a long time.
Yeah, I'm surprised I haven't needed the toilet yet. I've got an extension lead running out the house. Because I said to my other half, I was like, I'm going to go and sit in the van. I was like, it's quieter. I was like, but I need the engine running to use the 3-pin plugs and stuff. And I was like, well, I'm going to have to run an extension lead out the house. And the extension lead's coiled up on the front seat of the van with all my chargers plugged in and my lights and everything because it was too dark in here. So, yeah.
Brilliant. You're ruining the illusion, Matt. You're ruining the illusion.
I can switch all the lights off if you want. It goes pitch black.
Wait, it looks like the sound's brilliant in there.
I got a little DJI here, just a little fairy mic.
Oh, yeah. Bloody hell, that's your mic?
Yeah, wow. The DJI, just that little mini one, little teeny tiny one.
Yeah, the Mic 3.
They're like 40 quid or something, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Nice one. On the curtains.
The sound you're getting from that is fantastic.
Just like little lights. They're just like Temu sort of like, I think that was about 6 quid, and it just charges up on a USB-C, and I just stick it on the corner of the laptop, and there's another one behind there, and it all works.
Jesus, I got bloody studio lights all over the option here. Yeah, Christ.
I wish I had a nice little studio. I had a nice little sort of area to work, and I just filled it with shite. Well, it's not shite at all. No, I tell a lie. I had to order. I tell a lie. I had to order all the packaging for the X series, and I wanted branded boxes, like really nice looking packaging. So you spent a lot of money on your product. It needs to look nice the second you see it on the doorstep. So this company were like, yeah, fine. You need to order a minimum of 100 boxes. I was like, yeah, fine, whatever. So then there was all the little other bits that go with it. and there's these inserts that go in. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And they went, well, the inserts a minimum order requirement of 1,000. And I was like, all right. I was like, all right, whatever. Yeah, I was just like, yeah, I need the boxes, man. Just send it, whatever.
So they've got you bent over a barrel, don't they?
They sent me the pro forma. I spent $3,500 on cardboard. A fucking lorry turns up outside my house, and he was like, have you got a forklift? I'm like, no, I ain't got a fucking forklift, mate. You're outside my house.
Got a couple of 9-year-olds. Come here.
I was like, no, and he went, well, it looks like we're handballing all this off then. So there was a stage a while ago when my garage, lucky I got double garage, but that thing was floor to ceiling stacked with cardboard. And I'm stood back looking at this thing going, if this gets damp, I'm $3,000 out on cardboard. Yeah. So I put it in. It's in its storage now. So, but yeah, I wish I had
I had the same when I'll bring it. Sorry, I've not mentioned it yet. But when I did the big trip, at the end of it, I wrote a book and I self-published. So I think I did like 750 copies. So this lorry turned up, and these boxes got dumped outside on a pallet.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, oh shit, it's like me and my wife, like, how are we going to deal with this? And then, as you said, you just got to handball it in, haven't you? And then it takes over your house because you just got 750 bloody boxes everywhere.
That was the thing for me. Like, it took me and the lorry driver, it took us best part of an hour to handball the lorry off. And then there was so much stuff in my garage. I thought, I got to put some of this in the workshop. And that's a dangerous game because that's where I do all the fabricating and welding and stuff. And I'm like, I got to fill the workshop with cardboard now. I'm not going to tell the home insurance company that. But I'm then carrying it in stacks like 2 foot tall. I'm carrying it out the back. And it took me about 3 hours to move half of it into the workshop.
Mate, when you're sat in your red Chesterfield leather suite in your new Viking cafe restaurant empire, you can look back on these times and go, I remember them. I remember them.
That's it. Right. There's one bike I want to get back as well for that point. And once the Chesterfield's fine, but there's a bike I sold a little while ago, and it was an XVS 1100 Yamaha Dragstar, and it's a pretty run-of-the-mill sort of cruiser bike, but this one, I spent so much time on it. I painted the tank, like Bob had kitted it, the ape hanger bars, and I put a foot clutch and a suicide shifter on it.
Jeez.
And that thing, do you know what? Suicide shift is actually easier than you think when you get to know it. It's more natural than you think from driving a car, doing the foot clutch and changing behind you. It's weird,
really?
But yeah, sorry, I went a little off topic then because I'm sort of reminiscing on this bike that I never should have sold. But I contacted the guy the other day and I said, if you ever sell it, I want it back. So do you know what? That'll be me sat in a Chesterfield and my Dragstar can go up on the wall. I'm a happy man.
I was going to say, do you know where the bike is? But obviously you're tracking it.
I know he's got it. Yeah, he took the jockey shifter off. He took the suicide shifter off. He said he couldn't do it. So. But he still got it, so that's the main thing.
All right. Well, there you go. Focus. Make it happen. It will happen.
Buy my old bike back. That's the main thing.
Buy some Fortlox products, people. You've got to get a bike back.
Yeah, I want my old bike back.
Speaking of which, dude, before we wrap up, floor is yours. Please say what you like, promote what you like. Over to you.
I mean, I think we've covered every angle of the business during the podcast, but I just want to say thanks for having me on. It's been an absolute blast. I really appreciate the time, man.
Pleasure, mate. Least I can do to help. Happy to help.
If you guys want to head over, find the Instagram page, find the Facebook page, just give it a follow. Check out the stuff that I've got on the website, and I really appreciate that.
Beautiful. Folks, all those links will be down below, so make sure you check it out. And as Matt said, if you like it, make sure you give it a like, a follow, subscribe, all that jazz, and share it. Share it with all your mates.
And then come and drink coffee in my cafe.
There you go. That as well. He might even give you a bit of cake. You never know.
Ooh. What's your cake? What are you going for?
Now, normally I'll
put you on the spot now.
Well, There's really no argument in it. If we're talking like a dessert, like a sweet, it would be banoffee pie every day of the week.
Ooh.
But if we're talking like something to have with your coffee, like a cake, a biscuit or something to have with your coffee, ooh. I sound a bit weak here, but I like a bit of cinnamon, or I like a bit of carrot cake. As a fat man, I like carrot cake because I feel like I'm eating fruit, vegetables.
Carrot cake is an unrecognised champion, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. Right,
Carrot cake is elite.
I don't feel so weak for saying that.
Just a nice lemon drizzle for me with a latte in the cafe. Oh,
did you think we'd be talking about this, Matt?
This is getting too much now. I think we need to wrap it up.
I'm getting hungry. Yeah, I might have to go inside. Kick my wife out of bed. Come and make a cake.
That's it, man.
She punched me in the face. Right, cheers, Matt. Been a pleasure chatting to you, pal, and I look forward to seeing how things grow with Fortlox. And
yeah, mate, yeah, we'll stay in touch. Yeah,
definitely. When you get the empire, when the empire starts growing, you can come back on and we can reminisce about all this.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, dude, been an absolute pleasure.
Live podcast from the cafe.
Now you're talking.
There's a goal. 5-year goal. Look.
5 years, right? You're on. Mark the date, people. Mark the date.
Deal.
Right, you're on. Matt, been a pleasure chatting to you, pal. Folks,
yes,
I hope you've enjoyed this one. Like you said before, make sure you tell. This helps me out now. We're talking about me here with Bru Time. If you're enjoying the podcast, then make sure you tell your mates about it and share across all the various different platforms. Right, hope you've enjoyed it. Keep doing your thing. Look after those that you love. Getting out there whenever you can and live your life. Ooh-ha. I muck that ending up every single time. Let me just stop this here. Bosh.